welcome to the 157th episode of the Korea Podcast. I'm your host, Jack, located in Ulsan, South Korea, blah, 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 blah. It's the 9th of May. Hope everybody had a fantastic weekend. It was good for me, I think it was good. The Korea Podcast is a podcast in which I talk about anything and everything related to living and working in South Korea, as well as the surrounding areas here of the peninsula. The Korea Podcast is sponsored by the one and only Shane Korea. If you are in South Korea and interested in starting your own English language franchise, then do not hesitate to contact me, and we will set you up with a fantastic language program, turnkey business. You give us the cash, we give you the rights and the materials. You find a place and you open yourself up either a elementary program or a 3-year full kindergarten program if that's what you like to do, and let the moolah roll in. What's up today? So today I wasn't today I didn't look for anything on the parking Korea failed parking group, just because I felt like changing something up a little bit, and so I decided to look stuff up on the group called Oink, only in Korea, and I found some fun things to look at for us to look at. So let's look at those. There aren't many. There are some, a couple. In South Korea, some stores package their bananas together in various ripeness stages, so you can eat them over several days without them going brown. They call them one-at-a-day bananas. This is the cleverest thing I've ever seen. I think I've seen this before some time ago, somewhere. Some time ago. And so here it is again. I guess that's cool. I don't know. All it means that you're paying extra for packaging and, you know, the selection of different bananas. This is a popping su, and apparently this is made of, well, this is made of apple mangoes. So the Shila Hotel, I believe, which has extravagant prices, now charges $83 or 83,000 won for this popping soup, which is insanito. Let me just check to make sure that there is sound, because I haven't done that yet apparently. So just quickly, check, microphone checker. Where the heck is it? Oh yeah. Okay, let's see. Is this sound? Checker. Yeah. Oh good. Okay, and my thing is sticking out here like a sore thumb. Pardon me-o. Very good. So yeah, this thing, 85,000 won. Holy macaruno. Man, that's the most expensive popping-su or ping-su without the pot that I've ever seen. By the way, if you're new to the channel, if you're new to the podcast, make sure to smash up the likes. If you're recurring, this is your recurring appearance, then also remember to smash up the likes. If you're new, subscribe to the channel. And if you're new to Korea, then the difference between popping-su or pat-ping-su, which is pat is the red bean, which is, I don't know, some call it the chocolate of Asia. So the original ping-su is called pat-ping-su because it has the brown bean or the red bean on top. This one is just called ping-su because it doesn't have the bean. It's got pineapple, mango, I don't know, this is, I guess, shaved ice or shaved ice cream, and then I guess inside there's a bunch of ice cream too. But man, I hope this thing is massive, because for 83 bucks, better be grandiose. This is an interesting, somebody posted, I'm not exactly sure what it is, but during the employment period, so this was, I think, like rules and regulations for teachers in South Korea, things that you can and cannot do. Absence without any notice more than 2 times a month, receiving complaints from students and his or her parents more than 3 times a month, or need of class by more than 10% of students a month, immoderate corporal punishment on students without good reasons. Apparently, that's okay. Immoderate. If you hit them in moderation, then that's okay. Losing confidence between both parties and affecting the school's reputation by, no idea what that is. But the point was 3, immoderate corporal punishment. So moderate corporal punishment is okay if it's, you know, unnecessary and excessive, then it's a problem. This is another picture of the bingsu, which was fantastic. Yeah. So yeah, that's it. That's a quick selection. Oh no, wait a minute. I gotta switch over here. Let me just find it. There is one more. There is one more golden gem. Okay, so this is. I don't know if you've seen this video. Let's see if I can make this larger. Oh no, wrong thingy-majiggy. How big will this get? Okay, so. This says it's posted on the only in Korea side, but the heading below actually says incidents in Singapore incidents. So I'm not sure if this is Korea or Singapore. This van looks like it could be, I guess, anywhere. I've never been to Singapore, but so this dude, he's washing himself some radish as well as his feet, which is quite disgusting. Both. Yeah. So we're assuming that this is Singapore incidents, that it's not Korea, okay? Alrighty. But so yeah, these are goodies from the Only in Korea page, which is always fun to check out. Alright, so Korean economy going down the pooper, or well, not going down the pooper. I think the U.S. economy may be going down the pooper, and so is the dominance of the U.S. dollar, which is dragging the entire world economy down with itself. But what's happening in South Korea here? Soaring prices in service sectors feared to hamper economic recovery. Clearly. Soaring prices in the service sector are feared to thwart economic recovery as they will weaken people's purchasing power despite increased outdoor activities following the lifting of social distancing measures here, experts said Monday. According to data from Statistics Korea, prices in the service sector rose by 4.5% in April from the previous year. This rise was the steepest increase in more than 13 years. Prices of personal services rose merely around 1% in 2020 in the early days of COVID-19 pandemic. Now, I don't know what this actually refers to, personal services. Because in restaurants, unlike back home, you know, there is no such thing as tipping. So I'm not exactly sure whether restaurants include service charge for, you know, for to cover the expense or to cover their employees' salaries and stuff like that. So personal services, not exactly sure which services this is referring to. Massage parlors. Lisa says, ew. I think that was in reference to the foot washing dude, yeah? Yeah. Hey Lisa, by the way, how are you today? When prices rise, consumers' real purchasing power reduces. Yes, Korea capital, clearly. Even if more people enjoy outdoor activities and expand consumption there, that will result in price hikes in the service sector, he added. What is the service sector then? What are we talking about? Again, due to the pandemic, the coffee delivery. Well, okay, prices for deliveries have gone up, from what I understand. Hair salons, yeah, maybe. I found a freaking fantastic hairdresser near my house. Charges 12,000 won for the best haircut I've had. Look at that. See, very, very good looking. But the point is, it's very well done. And it's not perfect by any stretch of the imagination, but it's pretty darn close to perfection, man. The last hairdresser I used to go to downtown, an old downtown here, man. First time I went, I was very, very pleased. He came highly recommended by a friend. I enjoyed the atmosphere, so did Liam. It was a men's only, like it's called the Gentleman. And it was grand, it was really good. And then my last visit, oh brother, both Liam and I came with completely messed up hairdos. It was just horrible. When Jigang, my wife, saw us, her jaw dropped and she ended up calling the guy and complained. He said we could come over and he would fix it, but by that time I was done. So anyway, the point of this story, little anecdote, was that this guy that I found here charges only 12,000 won, and I wouldn't complain if he was charging me 20,000 won for that haircut. But shh, don't tell him, because I like the 12,000 won charge. So no hike rates from him yet, but yes, that's a good point. I guess maybe places that are located in more affluent areas than where he's located, because even though he's located in Okdong here, he's kind of tucked away, and his amenities are a little bit outdated. But yeah. So anyway, yeah, soaring prices in service sectors. That's what's happening in Korea. We're heading for COVID-19 recovery, apparently, maybe. But so this is the Arirang. Arirang posted similar article. They all post similar articles. With many COVID-19 social distancing restrictions lifted, consumers have started to spend again, only to be met with soaring consumer prices, particularly in the service sector. According to Korean Statistical Information Service, April figures show that service sector prices have increased by 4.5%. The price of dining out increased by 6.6%, while other services within the sector also saw rises with 7.7% at movie theaters. So there you go, 4.7% for parking services and 5.4% for hotel accommodations. There you go. Those are the service areas, I guess, that we were wondering about. Yeah, it's true. Lisa says, nice price. Guys are lucky with hair salon prices. Yeah, I guess that's true. Like, haircuts for men can be pretty reasonable. I know when it comes to women, there's a lot more, particularly when you venture out and try to get yourself a perm or whatever. I've seen prices like, you know, in the vicinity of 250, 300,000 won for God knows what. So, yeah, not easy being a woman trying to get your hair done here, hey? While this may be an inevitable part of efforts towards, oh, not the hair, I'm back on the topic of the price hikes. Economic recovery, sharp increases may deter consumers from spending. And so, you know, I guess we're wondering, why is this happening, yeah? How the war in Ukraine is raising food prices in South Korea. I was always wondering, I'm like, you know, how much stuff does Korea import from the Ukraine that would render its cost, for Ukraine or Russia, I guess, for that matter, that would render its cost higher. Ukraine, so Korea apparently imports a lot of its wheat prices, yeah, or sorry, wheat. Ukraine is one of the largest wheat exporters in the world, and so although Koreans are not really big on, you know, wheat consumers, I mean, it's a rice country for God's sake, but over the past decade and a half, I guess, there's a lot more bakeries that are opening up, and I guess a lot more Koreans are enjoying, you know, a good loaf of bread here and there, and definitely flour and all these things. So whatever things are produced from wheat, like noodles and breads and whatever other goodies, you know, those have gone up in prices, presumably. Food prices double. That's why I hesitate before buying any produce products. I drive to work every day and have seen gasoline prices go up significantly. It's tough because my salary is still the same, but I have to spend more. Yeah, well, that's true. Gasoline, man, gasoline is, we know that it's crazy high. Although I must say, regular gasoline hasn't really gone up so much. It's diesel that went up. Like, I think a liter of diesel costs the same as a liter of regular gas, which is wacky doodle because diesel was always like, I don't know, half a 501 less, I believe. Lisa says, I heard that some countries are stocking up on cooking oil as an effect of the war. Yes, there is an article, next one coming up. Cooking oil, most sought after item in online second-hand markets. Yep. Cooking oil has become the most sought after item in online second-hand markets as concerns over its global supplies have prompted more consumers to stock up the staple item. Indonesia's export ban on its palm oil and the ongoing war between Russia and Ukraine have led cooking oil makers to hike their retail prices, making oil a hot item among thrifty consumers shopping on second-hand markets. According to Dangun, the carrot market. Their 3 500 milliliter bottles of unopened cooking oil were sold for 5,000 won on May 6, or about 1,600 won each. Given that people can buy the half a liter bottle for as low as 2,200 won on e-commerce sites, 5,000 won for the 3 is considered quite expensive. According to the country's largest online flea market. Really? 1,600 for oil? That's pretty cheap, man. I think that's a pretty regular price. I don't know if it's... See, I guess it's about that price. 1,600 for 3 bottles. Maybe, I don't know. I don't remember. I buy oil, but I never pay attention to the price for oil, man. I just get it because I need it. After the prices of many raw materials and processed foods increased due to the war in Ukraine, I thought that it would be good to keep some in stock beforehand. Maybe this is good. Maybe you know, we need to stop eating processed foods anyway because they're bad for us. Apparently, according to a yogi I once recently heard, food that's older than 3 hours is not consumed by those who practice yoga on a serious level. So, fresh food, as little processing as you possibly can. I guess if you need to cut a strawberry in 4 quarters, then go ahead, but otherwise just, you know, keep it in one piece. Korean economy facing growing downside risks, KDI. Despite a moderate recovery, the Korean economy faces increasing downside risks as worsening external conditions hamstring investments and exports, a state think tank said Monday. Asia's fourth largest economy has been gathering recovery momentum on robust growth in the service sector, but business sentiments has been hit by policy uncertainties in major economies and continuous global supply chain disruptions, the Korea Development Institute KDI said in its monthly economic report. A friend shared an interesting video, YouTube video today that talked about precisely that global supply shock. Basically, the possible failure of supply chains or collapse of supply chains. Maybe not all, but some. It's an interesting watch. Thank you for the share, actually, Ben. I'm gonna share that. Not this. We're not gonna watch it now, but where is it? Yeah, okay. I'm gonna share that in the chat section for yo's interested in watching it. It's a good watch, good listen, and I recommend it. US Fed's rate hikes pose dilemma for South Korea. The US Federal Reserve's biggest rate hike in 22 years poses a dilemma for South Korea's central bank in adjusting the pace of its monetary tightening and for local businesses seeking to go public, experts said Monday. The Fed's decision to raise its base rate by half a percent point on Wednesday that set its target federal funds rate to a range between 75.75% and 1% has presented new hurdles for the Bank of Korea, which is wary of the growing risk tied to capital outflow and strong dollar trend. Basically, if the US dollar becomes too strong, the Korean won will plummet in value, and so everything's going to go up in prices, which is already happening. I think the Korean won is falling on its face. So hard times ahead, not great. The minutes bolstered the risk case of a higher terminal rate than our previous expectation of 2.25% that we highlighted in our previous note. The global banking group now forecasts the Bank of Korea's base rate to be raised to 2.5% by the end of the year. Yay! Vice Finance Minister pledges preemptive response to market volatility. Reiterated policymakers' willingness to intervene promptly to stabilize the capital and currency markets during a meeting to take countermeasures against the U.S. Federal Reserve's monetary tightening. Lee said that there is a high possibility that Korea's financial and foreign exchange market will react sensitively to external factors for the time being. His remarks came after the Fed. Yes, we know the need for preemptive against a variety of risk and measures to this could mean that the government would seek to minimize volatility of the stock and $1 exchange market by mobilizing a variety of actions like state-led selling of dollar-denominated assets when external shocks hit index. Gotta stay hydrated. So I don't know, we'll see. They're promising a lot of stuff. Hopefully inflation's not going to hit us too much. Things are not going to go too crazily expensive because salaries and incomes remain pretty much the same. So yeah. Global market warm-up. This was a conversation, I guess I didn't watch it, but this was a conversation with a prof and Time for an in-depth look at the market news this afternoon, and joined by this dude. He's an economist, Professor Young. He says Korean stocks were lower today too. The Kospi down fell. Basically, things are going downhill. Stocks also went down. Bang! Could this be the year Taiwan's economy overtakes South Korea's economy? See? Taiwan's doing good. Vietnam is probably on the rise as well, but yeah, I don't know. There's an interesting book I'm reading right now by Paul Dalio. I think Paul Dalio. It's a book on the changing world order, basically shifting world order, and how empires over centuries have moved up and down, which is an interesting read. And there is also a YouTube video which I could post, but it's an interesting read, and it's an interesting quick little video talking about the change in economies and world powers, because economic world powers, which maybe he's kind of hinting at the idea that we may be seeing the decline of the U.S. empire, as you know, and a possible rise in the Chinese empire. So yeah, decline in the US dollar and rise in the Chinese yuan. So shall I assume the exchange rate won't improve within the next month? So I should probably just send my parents their anniversary gift this month instead of next. That's what it seems like. I don't think it's going to be improving. I think they're talking about the Fed's supposed to have another meeting in May, June? This month, or 25th of May or something like that. Towards the end of this month, there's supposed to be a Fed meeting, and I guess we'll find out what the Fed announces and how that's going to affect the rest of the world. But things are not looking too great right now. There's a lot happening. Chebol set to unveil massive investment plans under new government. So despite the fact that prices are rising, massive companies are still making a killing. They're reporting income that's higher than normal. And Korea's major business groups are expected to unveil massive investment plans soon after the country inaugurates a new president on Tuesday. President Yoon Suk-yeol has promised to create a business-friendly environment by easing regulations and expanding support for semiconductor manufacturers and other key industries, according to business officials Monday. So that's great. He's opening up the way for massive corporations to stick their noses further into the market and make it even more impossible for small businesses to get a head start on anything. Pledging to create a dynamic economy by fostering a public-private partnership, the administration plans to secure competitiveness in future strategic industries such as semiconductors, artificial intelligence, and batteries, designating them as national priorities. There you go. That's what's happening. A lot more money going into the IT. Have you heard? I think a couple of weeks ago I talked about this dude who embezzled a bunch of money from there was some foreign company that was sending money, like I don't know, like $500,000 or more or less than that, somewhere within the vicinity of $1 million. And this dude embezzled most of it, and apparently now it turns out that half of the embezzled money he lost in futures options trading. My guess is he was gambling on Bitcoin, and that kind of went down the shooter because Bitcoin is at $32,000 right now. What's it at? I don't know what it's at, but let's see. What's Bitcoin at? Oh yeah, 32.7. Hi. Bitcoin's at 32.7. $32,700. That's where it's at. And I bet he lost most of it doing that. High risk stock derivative products. They're saying stock derivative. I bet he freaking blew it all on Bitcoin. Cacao Bank considers forging ties with crypto exchanges. Cacao Bank is considering tapping into the cryptocurrency industry through a potential partnership with cyber money exchange operators here. The internet-only lender leaves open various possibilities before taking more concrete steps for its expansion into the new industry. The move reflects growing demand for cryptocurrency transactions here and abroad. I would love Cacao to get into crypto more. They created what is it? Clip, I think, Clip Wallet or something like that, but it's very user unfriendly. And provided that Cacao doesn't go the same route as most Korean exchanges have, and people are very adamant about calling them racist because basically they've made it completely impossible for expats to invest or to invest into crypto using Korean exchanges. You can't, as an expat, you can't use Korean exchanges unless you have access to a Korean ID. So basically, as an expat, you can't use Korean exchanges. So hopefully, Cacao doesn't go the same route, which it probably will. And so really, who cares? Cacao Bank is positively reviewing plans on how we will be able to launch crypto-related services or businesses as more consumers identify crypto assets as a major financial investment area. Yeah. Samsung takes lead in 6G network technology. That's happening. If you weren't aware, that's happening. Right now, I think Samsung is talking about expanding 5G operations or development in the States. But here, homegrown 6G is coming your way. Samsung Electronics is taking the lead in standardization of 6th generation network technology, as the company proposed to start a global study on securing frequencies for the future network technology, which is expected to be commercialized as early as 2028, the company said Monday. So we gotta wait until 2028 to see 6G. Good, bad, I don't know. There's gonna be. Do you remember what was going on when 5G was about to be launched, man? It was mayhem. People were putting on their aluminum hats and calling all kinds of mind control voodoo crap. You wait and see, man. I can't wait to see what's gonna happen when 6G is about to be launched, man. People are gonna be, oh yeah, they were burning towers and stuff like that. All kinds of crazy stuff. Wow, that was mayhem. Anyway, over half of 20-somethings don't plan to have children after marriage. That's what the poll says in South Korea, man. I think population is already is declining. So we're looking at there not being any Koreans within the next few generations, because I think it's, what is it, at 1.2 you need like 2.1 or 2.2 at least to have a stable population. And right now, Korea stands at 1.2 or 1.6, something like that. It's declining. And so now, even more so, people are a lot more adamant about not having kids. More than half of single 20-something Koreans in Korea do not want to have babies after marriage. Like, it doesn't say Koreans, in Korea. So I assume most of them were Korean, but it doesn't really say that. Apparently, due to concerns over high child rearing costs in the country, a poll showed Monday. Really? Having babies too expensive. I'm not gonna have babies. All right. According to survey reported in a monthly economic journal by the state-run Korea Development Institute, 52.4% of unmarried Koreans in their 20s think it is okay not to have children after tying the knot. Clueless kids. It's a natural progression of things, man. Once you get into a relationship and it's serious and it's good, the next step, it's just, what is it? It's a biological clock that begins to tick for both women and the majority of men as well. Once you get in a relationship, you marry, and with time, everybody feels the biological need to reproduce, because that's how we're programmed genetically. And for women, I think it's even stronger than for men. So these kids in their 20s, they don't know what the hell they're talking about. The percentage is sharply up from 23% in the same survey conducted 5 years ago. In contrast, 28.3% of the surveyed said they plan to have children after marriage, up just 7 points higher than 5 years ago. All right. We'll see what happens to these kids when they get hitched. South Korea's daily COVID-19 cases up week on week for 2 straight days. And the Jongan Daily says that COVID cases are starting to plateau. Things were going down, now they're plateauing out. There's talk of the B2 variant now exploding out in the States, and more people are becoming infected with the B2, which is like a new variant of the Omicron variant. It's a variant of a variant, and it's supposed to be even more infectious, less less severe but more infectious or something like that. So who knows? I think right now, what's the count? I think there's 17 million infected. Yeah. According to Korea Disease Control and Prevention Agency, the country added 20,000 new COVID cases, infections during the 24 hours of Sunday. The total caseload rose to 17 million. So that's 17 out of 52. What is that, a third or so? And Fauci, good old Fauci in his days, was saying that that probably most people in the world will be infected with COVID at one point in time. So we're still far from most people here in Korea. So yeah, maybe it'll be a gradual progression, or maybe it's going to be a massive hysteria again. Whatever it is, if it's Omicron-ish. I know people don't find this topic very sensitive, and many people, you know, I don't know. Many people get very touchy about it, but it's the flu, and I know many people don't want to hear it, that it's not the flu, but it is the flu. And the long COVID, it's, again, like I said last time, it's what happens to you after the flu. Once you overcome your flu conditions, your flu symptoms, it's a prolonged period of recovery, during which you need to continue to take care of yourself, because if you don't, this could lead to prolonged complications. It's always been that case, man, since I was a kid, man. I remember my mom telling me, and I think I said that as well, that when you have the flu, you gotta take care of it, you gotta cure it, spend the 7 days in bed, take care of yourself, don't be walking around with your fever and coughity cough and, being out and about. You need to be in bed for 7 days, sweat it out, take care of it, so that there are no further complications. But if the public is not aware of how to handle the flu, then that's what you get, panic. Lisa says, let me just check here quickly in the chat sections. Didn't I hear that the infrastructure is even weak for 5G still? Yeah, I have no idea. If you go out in the countryside, I don't know, there's 5G towers are everywhere. Like, you're not even aware of it, but the other weekend I was out glamping, and it was out in the boonies past Gyeongju, and I took a little stroll in the morning into a farming village with literally, there was nothing around, but there was a KTX line running right through the village, or it was just on the outskirts of the village. And right next to the KTX line there was a big tower, with a big booming generator at its bottom, and just a mass of 5G routers, or whatever the heck they're called. So yeah, I don't know if it's weak. In Korea, I think it's pretty good overall. What do you consider weak? I mean, you go back home to Canada at least, and it's complete crap. So in Korea, it's pretty darn good, I think. It's not going away, it's the new flu. Yeah, I think so. I think that's in reference to the COVID, and I think that's what it is. And people need to learn how to deal with it and not panic over it, but learn that you need to spend you need to take care of yourself, man. Like I said, in Europe, the flu, when I was a kid growing up in Europe, man, it was a serious thing. You were out for 7 days in bed. My mother would pin me down basically, and I had to suffer through it. 7 days in bed, no outdoors, nothing like of that sort, man. Medicine, sleeping, and yeah, I had high fever. I remember having high fever and all that jazz, and yeah. So there you have it. Okie. Alrighty, what else here? NATO Cyber Defense Group holds ceremony to welcome Korea's membership. So Korea apparently is not part of NATO, but they joined the Cyber Defense Group with who's in it? There, Canada, based in Tallinn, Estonia, along with Canada and Luxembourg. And so that means that we're gonna be seeing a lot more censorship here in Korea to curb down on the internet pirates, I guess. That's what's gonna happen. Samsung to expedite Metaverse technology development, which is probably why Korea is joining the cybersecurity, because, you know, Samsung's got very, very deep pockets and very, very good connections. And so you need the best of government security and protection for a company like that that's going to enter or is planning on entering the Metaverse and making Korea the first. Hey, is the camera shaking? I hope that's not too annoying. Sometimes it shakes. Very wobbly, my screen, man. It's on this tiny little leg. It's a great screen, but it's on a tiny little leg, and the desk shakes, and it's like a little puppet. So yeah, so that's what's happening. That's also happening. Yeah. So that's in combination. US 60 countries pledged to promote free open internet, urge others to join. No idea what that means, but the United States and 60 other countries issued a joint declaration for the future of the internet on Thursday, vowing to promote human rights, freedom, democracy, and the rule of law in the digital realm. I think this is probably the most important thing, the rule of law. Strong fist. We need to control and delegate and make sure that everything is under surveillance. US officials said the declaration is not targeted at any specific country or regime, but that it does seek to counter that what they called digital authoritarianism. Kind of, I guess, China like blocking whatever Twitter and whatever other websites that they block. Turkey does it, Korea does it. I don't think any country is an exception. I don't know if USA blocks anything, but they do. USA and Canada does block movies. There are certain movies, if you go on the internet and Google banned movies in the USA, you will find a list of movies that are not legally available in the USA for watching. So yeah. For different reasons, but some of them are justifiably so. I've seen one and it made my head spin. It's like, why would anybody make that? Regulator to impose fines on tech giants refusing probe. Don't want to be probed. Nobody wants to be probed. South Korea's telecommunications regulator said Wednesday that it will impose fines companies refusing to comply with a probe into the violation of a revised law banning App Store operators from forcing developers to use their own in-app payment systems. There you go. Those guys are going to be probed. What else here? Worker from Kazakhstan has been missing since June. This is from April 26, 2022. This year. So apparently this woman is missing. Kazakhstani migrant worker has been missing in Korea for over 10 months. The Kazakhstan consulate in Korea contacted the Jong-un Ilbo to broadcast an appeal for help in finding Albina Kabduldina. Oh my goodness. Kabduldina, 35, who has been missing since June 13. Kabduldina arrived in Korea in June 2019 and worked in factories in different areas, including Busan and Gimhae, South Gyeongsang. We know what that is. According to Kabduldina's mother, talked with her and her 12-year-old daughter over Skype every day. My daughter showed me the apartment herself, groceries, blah blah blah. Anyway, this is the woman. If you happen to spot her, might want to contact authorities because the woman is missing. There you go. Help out. Korea travels. Korea's best stargazing spots put the Milky Way almost in reach. I don't know where this image is from. Where the heck is the Milky Way? Lights up the sky from Anbendegi in Gangneung. No idea where that is, Gangneung. But I don't think I've ever seen the Milky Way. It's very hard to see any stars in Korea. I think the sky has become a little bit better, but I remember when I came in 2005, man, there were no stars. That was one of my major complaints in Korea. No stars in Korea. I think it's getting a little bit better, and apparently some places actually do offer a view of the Milky Way, which is amazing. That would mean it would have to be pitch black to see the Milky Way. Have you ever seen the Milky Way? The Korean word for Milky Way literally means silver river. Alrighty, there you go. So if you want to see Milky Way, head over to, where is this? Goson. Okay. Okay. Here it is. Somewhere in the middle of the mountains. You know what? Maybe I should. Ulsan Rock in Sokcho. There's an Ulsan Rock in Sokcho. Whenever I'm asked which place in Korea offers the most beautiful view of the Milky Way, my answer is immediate. Ulsan Rock in Sokcho. Maybe I gotta drive down to Sokcho and have myself a view of that place. Or maybe just head over into the mountains somewhere here sometime. Nearly 1 in 5 North Korean defectors say they regret coming to South Korea. They're not happy, probably right now either. Survey results showed that 18.5% of North Korean defectors expressed that they regret moving to South Korea. And they say they complain about alienation, differences in psychological and cultural differences, as well as economics. Yep. Sucks to be different from Korea. Psychologists found a striking difference in intelligence after examining twins raised apart in South Korea and the United States. That is controversial. Let's have a look. A new study of monozygotic twins raised apart in South Korea and the United States provides unique insights into how genetic, cultural, and environmental factors influence human development. The new research has been published in the scientific journal Personality and Individual Differences. I've studied identical twins reared apart for many years. They pose a simple yet elegant experiment for disentangling genetic and environmental influences on human traits. This case was unique in that the twins were raised in different countries. Okay, what's the result? One of the twins became lost at age 2 after visiting a market with her grandmother. She was later taken to a hospital that was approximately miles. She later discovered she had a twin sister, DNA. Okay. Not only did the twins experience different countries, okay. The research found striking differences in cognitive abilities. The twin raised in South Korea scored considerably higher on intelligence tests related to perceptual reasoning and processing speed. Really? With an overall IQ score of 16 points. Perceptual reasoning? Okay. In line with the cultural environment, the twin raised in the United States had more individualistic values, while the twin raised in South Korea had more collectivist values. Clearly, that's not a mystery, man. That wouldn't take research. I mean, research's been done on this for years, so I think that's like okay. However, the twins had a similar personality. Both scored high on measures of conscientiousness and low on measures of neuroticism. Really? That's debatable, I guess. From my experience and the experience of many expats, this is very much debatable. They also had a similar level of satisfaction with their job, even though their occupations were quite different. A government administrator and a cook, blah, blah, blah. Genes, we need to identify more such. Okay, all right. So, okay, Korea came up on top. Koreans, more intelligent. USA Americans, not so intelligent. Thank you, Korea, for that research. Taxi driver allegedly killed by 70-something hunter who mistook him for a wild boar. It happens, man. Sometimes you see taxi drivers. Smash those likes, Paul Grava says. That's right, Paul. Thanks for swinging by. Smash those likes, yo. Taxi drivers sometimes do look like boars, man, especially when they're just, driving like maniacs down the road. Hunter and Seoul came under investigation by police for allegedly mistaking a taxi driver on a mountain roadside for a wild boar and killing the driver with a rifle. Yeah, what can you say to that, man? What can you say to that? There was an interesting video I saw just the other day somewhere. Somebody posted, I don't know where it was posted. I guess on Facebook, because I see a lot of weird stuff on Facebook. But it was have you ever seen a Korean deer? Korean deer are, tiny. I mean, they're not that, a little bit bigger than that. But compared to the deer back home, they're tiny. They're like little mountain goats. And that thing was hopping through the middle of the city. All right. Paul, you swung by towards the very end of the podcast, man. But thank you for stopping by anyway. If you are in the neighborhood and interested into crypto, always swing by the crypto market updates channel. I do not do podcasts because I found their value to be very limited for the channel itself. But if you are interested in checking out the videos the work that I do on the crypto market updates channel, then swing by there, have a look at what I've got. If you have any questions, comments, suggestions, post them there as well. But in the meantime here, make sure to smash up the like, subscribe to the channel if you haven't done so yet. And, I'll see you in the next week. I hope this one was entertaining. If you have any questions, comments, suggestions about the podcast, the Live in Korea podcast or the Korea podcast, also leave them in the comment section below. If you'd like to see anything else, man, I'm always welcome to suggestions. I know some people mentioned, interviews and stuff like that. And oh, brother, I used to do a lot of interviews in the past. I don't have the drive to like chase people down for an interview here and there. So, it'll come sometime. Good to see you too, Paul. Alrighty, that's it for today. Thank you all for tuning in. Lisa and Paul and whoever else may be coming later or sooner. Thank you all for the support. Have a good evening. We'll see you next week in another podcast. Night.